we've talked about most things, but there might be something that you need more clarification on. So just let me know and she can deep dive on that with you guys. But yeah, awesome. We got some new faces on here. I'm excited about all the new individuals. Also excited about all the great things that are happening with a few of the individuals in the group. Edwin, I know you probably have some good news to share. I know that the other Braden, actually, yeah, wait, no, there's two. No, sorry. Braden, the other Braden is, Braden Moses has some good news too. Braden, I'm not sure if you have good news. You may, but I wanted to open up to anyone who has, again, anything great that happened, maybe something horrible happened and you want to tell and just vent, or if you want to tell everyone, hey, I learned this through this hard, season. That's something that I like to talk about in the beginning of the calls here. So if you have something you want to share that's been a win, if you had maybe a loss or a setback, we love hearing about those too. I actually like hearing those more than the wins, to be completely frank with you, because I feel like we can all learn something very valuable in other people's setbacks. So don't feel ashamed to share a setback, because I'm telling you, it's going to help so many people. So if you want to unmute yourself, you have something to share, go ahead and do that.
That we're finally coming to an end, but we have been sitting on a purchase agreement now for 15 guys weeks. And I'm praying to God that today is the last day that we are redlining and everybody can sign that dotted line. And then tomorrow, Doug and I are really excited because we've continued to move forward, even though the purchase agreement hasn't been signed, that we get to present our project to the city that we're going to be building in and meet up with the fire marshals and zoning and utilities and hopefully just get a deeper dive of what's going to be involved with this piece of property. So fingers crossed.
I love that. That's so exciting. I remember doing that call too. And I remember being so nervous because I felt like I didn't know what I was talking about. And I probably didn't. But when people heard about what we were doing, and especially the fire marshal and everyone involved was so kind. And I think because of, excuse me, I got allergies, guys, so sorry. When people hear what you're doing, there's just something that just pulls on people's heartstrings. There's just something about it. Because everyone has an experience with it. Everyone had a grandparent or maybe has a parent that has gone through a similar situation. And so I think everyone in this group is very genuine and loving and kind. And I think that comes across to individuals that you're talking to. And so I think it's just sharing your heart and your passion toward it. You're going to pull at everyone's heartstrings and they're going to be super excited about the project. And what's great about this, Nicole, is you have actual pictures of what you're going to be building. And so that's so helpful for people to envision that. We didn't have that. We just had to use our words to paint the picture in people's minds. So I'm glad that you guys have the actual pictures, a virtual walkthrough to share with people so that they can actually see the vision and not just, imagine it in their mind. But yeah, let us know how that goes, Nicole. We're all rooting for you. I'm excited. That's awesome. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
I'll share.
Awesome. I was hoping you'd unmute yourself. I was like, come on, Edwin. I called you out in the beginning.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so we have been under contract on one of the pieces of land, and we're still waiting on the other one, but we think it's in the coming days. But yeah, so 2.3 acres. I went ahead and scheduled with the city a second pre-planning meeting, but this time with my design project manager.
Mm-hmm.
So we really knocked out some very, very important questions. And it was interesting because the city planner said that the city manager took a look at our project and is on board with it.
It's awesome.
As well. So the city seems to be excited about the project. I did post on Facebook finally, and I think my wife did LinkedIn and Instagram. I need to get on it. I'm on Instagram, but it's not my real name. I probably need to update that. But yeah, so I've been kind of hesitant to posting because I want to make sure it's real. And so appreciate you and Brett chiming in, and others. A lot of you guys actually liked or commented, so appreciate the good vibes.
Of course. Yeah, everyone's here to support each other. I mean, I'm always looking forward to seeing you guys' posts, because I make sure that I'm on there every day to, to just encourage everybody. And I think that it's important for everyone else to see other people's success, because I think that when you see that, you're like, okay, like I'm almost there. I can do this too. And so again, it's a team collaborative effort to encourage when, we have a great season, but also to encourage when we have a bad season. Because to be honest, not all seasons are created equal. And I'm sure you all know that. So I think it's nice to be able to have a group of people rallying behind you when you're going through those hard seasons. And so, yes, I appreciate when you guys share, because first of all, it's great for us to encourage you, but then it also shares your story out with all of your other contacts that are on your social media. You're able to share what you're doing. And I mean, if you think about it, if you post that, it's going to be at least 300 or 400 eyes that see that. And then those 300 or 400 eyes are probably going to talk about it with however many people that they see, their contacts. And it just kind of spreads like wildfire. And it will spread like wildfire because it's something different. It's not your traditional syndication in real estate, or, you're purchasing a multifamily. It's not like that. You're changing people's lives. You're changing your community. And so people talk about it. So the only way that people are going to talk about it is if you talk about it. So again, I know it sounds like an old broken record. Make sure you get on social media and post, even though it may be uncomfortable, because it's the only way people are going to hear about it, especially your community too. Speaking of Edwin, I'm not calling you out. You don't have to answer this question, but this is for everybody. Do you know your city manager? Have you met your city manager? Do you know your council members? This is very important. If I see a council member who I don't know, but I know they're a council member, I'll just walk up to them in the community and be like, hey, I know you don't know me. My name is Laura Sharkavas. I'm actually a business owner here in town. I own Platinum Resort. It's an assisted living and memory care. And they'll usually be like, oh yeah, like I've heard of you, or whatever it might be. But just make sure that they can connect that business to the face. I think that's really important, because then when they see you around, you can, ask them how they're doing or whatever it may be. I think it's just those relationships that are really important. So get out of your comfort zone, talk to people even if you don't want to. Believe me, there are plenty of times I don't want to talk to people either. I know it's surprising because I'm a very social person, but there are times where I'm like, I hope I don't see anybody I know because I don't want to say a word to them. But it's very, very important that you get out there and you talk to the individuals who are the real big players within your city. Other business owners in your city are really important to know as well. So, the school district, your school district superintendent. I know it sounds really random, but they're an important player as well. And so making sure you know them as well. I know mine by first name basis. And again, it's because I'm going to these events. I'm introducing myself. I stand out. That's really important too. Don't hide within the crowd. Do something different. For example, if you don't know what to do that's different, I have an elf costume, Buddy the Elf costume. And that's something that I look forward to every December. Every event that I go to, I don't care what it is, I will wear the Buddy the Elf costume. And I will have, 2 or 3 lines from the movie that I will say when I'm out and about. If there's a Santa there, even better, because then I will do the whole Santa, I know him. It's this whole thing, right? And everyone's like, why is this girl yelling? It's memorable. And so I know that might be something that's way out of your comfort zone. You don't have to do that particularly. It's just an idea. But people remember. They remember you by these little things. And so if it's a loud jacket or if it's putting your name tag upside down, just something that's different to stand out. And I know that that's so countercultural, because I think that we're kind of taught to just like stay in line and don't stand out and blend in and just be average. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about being above average, doing something different to meet people within your community. And so I just implore you to do something different, stand out, get out of your comfort zone, introduce yourself to people. Don't sit with people you know at these events. Sit at a different table with people you don't know. And again, if it's not your personality, I got to tell you, I don't really care. You just got to do it. So again, I know that's kind of a rant, but if you need an idea, I'm telling you the elf costume is such a great win. I wear it downtown. Like I actually wore it this weekend. My daughter's had an event downtown. I wore it this weekend just because it makes people smile and it's memorable. So with that, anybody else have anything to share before we get started? All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Edwin and Nicole, for sharing that.
I have a quick question.
Oh, yes, please.
I think I've missed a few calls. How's everything going on your guys' side?
So I would say it's not the very best. Our application timed out, even though it wasn't really our timeout. It was actually the state that took so long. So we had to actually start over. So we reapplied and are starting back from scratch. And so I have to redo our life safety. And it's been a very frustrating process. So I think it's actually quicker because they were dragging their feet on even telling us what's going on. Like, I think they were trying to drag it. I don't know why. No one would tell us what's going on. I would call. They say, oh, we can't talk about this application. It was like this weird, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if it's just a testing season for me. But yeah, nobody was clear on what happened. And so we're just like, okay, well, I guess we'll just start over. So that's what we're doing. And that's where we're at right now.
Laura, and I don't know if you've already answered this, but does this mean that you can still only have 3?
Correct.
Per?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's per Texas. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of a statewide or a all throughout the United States type of thing. Again, don't quote me because I don't know specific states, how they are. But that's to Texas is a maximum of 3 without technically having a license. And so, yeah, we still have 3 grandparents in each house and a huge wait list and people calling us every day asking them when they're going to be able to move in. And it's like our hands are tied. So I'm hoping that we are learning a lot through this so that we can share it with you. The majority of the issue was our tank, our water tank. So if you're connected to utilities, I mean, it's probably going to be a breeze for you guys here in Texas. But that was the biggest thing for them was they were worried it was going to freeze, completely freeze, an 80,000 gallon tank freezing in Texas. They were concerned about that. And then they were concerned about backup generators for it. And so I think that they were learning along the process of it all, I guess. They were pulling weird codes that didn't really assimilate with what we're doing. So I think they didn't really know what they were doing, to be completely frank with you. And I think that they felt the liability was on them if they passed us. And so I don't know. I don't really know, to be honest. They didn't really tell us. This is me all just kind of assuming this was the problem, but they never really clarified anything. So we're just starting over. And if they tell us to get a generator, we'll get a generator. I just wish they would tell us. It's like they're treating us like infants and not communicating like adults. And so it's a very frustrating process. This has been a very frustrating season for us because we're kind of at a loss. Like they are not telling us what to change. And I don't know if there's like foul play on the backside of this. Like if something's happened in the backside that I don't know about, I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So no good news on my side. I mean, the good news is we have 3 in each and they're getting really great care. And, you know, we're able to build our team. So that's a good thing. But yeah, it's been frustrating for us, to say the least. So sorry I don't have any good news on that front.
Well, like you said, the bad news is sometimes the favorite things to hear because it means that we're learning something.
Yes.
If you guys can get through this, then obviously you can get through anything.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, there's no plan B for us. Like we're literally we're gonna succeed. We're gonna eventually get there. So, you know, that's what I keep telling everybody. Everyone's like, oh, that sucks that it's, you know, taking so long. I'm like, yeah, but it's eventually gonna happen. It's just not in the timing that I wished. And so, yeah, plan A is only plan A. Like we're gonna get licensed and it's gonna happen and you know, it's gonna be in the right timing. That's what I keep telling myself. Go ahead, Edwin. I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that because
Yeah.
I don't know if there's something going on with the state, but so the facility my mom is at is a new route, and very nicely done. I think they passed their first inspection, and they're still waiting on their final.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's even a backlog on the final stuff as well.
Yeah,
And
I don't know the answer to that.
New York
It's
City, yeah, I
y-
don't know. And they did not do the expedited.
oh, see, yeah, that's I wouldn't even the non-expedited isn't even an option. I wouldn't even tell you guys to do that. It's such a waste of time.
I,
The only option is expedited. Pay the 3,000. I mean, yes, it may look like a lot of money, but you're going to be losing so much more than that if you don't just pay that upfront 3,000 and get it done. So yeah, if I'm pretty sure every state has an option of expedited, so please do the expedited. Please pay that. It is 100% worth it to expedite every single thing within your government entity because expedited is not very expedited in your own mind. Like, I think expedited, okay, I'm gonna apply and like 2 weeks later, like you're coming out. That's usually not how it is. It's probably 4 weeks, I would say. They kind of make the process a little bit longer purposefully. Like for instance, in Texas, when you apply, you can pay for your application fee online. They have like an online portal and you pay for the application fee. That's usually a per bed fee, and you pay that and it's done. But when you do the expedited, they send you a voucher through email that you then have to write a check and mail the voucher in with the check, which takes, even if you overnight it, it can be, 2 to 3 days. And then it takes them 2 to 3 days to receive it and process it. And so I'm like, if you can accept online payments for the application, why do I have to mail a check? The whole thing doesn't make sense. And again, I think it's to elongate the process because, like Edwin said, I think they're just backlogged. And I think that might be something that's with every state. I think the government shutdown might have affected a few things too. And so, there's only so many things that you can't really get upset about certain things that you have no control over. I mean, I really have no control over it. So I have had to teach myself not to get upset about it. So if you can learn anything, just know that, hey, there's certain things you can't control and, just focus on the good that's happening because there's a lot of good still happening. So that's what I choose to focus on. Steve and Bruce, I see your hand up.
Hey, yeah, is there any conversation or video upload to the portal, or maybe you can do a quick recap now of how you handle the staffing when you're sitting at 3 residents and how you handle the managers and potential hiring for the anticipated increase?
Yeah, so we had done that already, to be completely honest with you, because we had thought we were just going to pass initially. What kind of happens naturally is you have a certain expectation for your team, and a lot of people, I would say 75% of people, don't carry that same standard of expectation that you have. And so, to be honest, we kind of were able to weed through pretty quickly certain individuals that weren't fitting our culture, that weren't fitting the expectation that we have in place. And so they kind of just weed themselves out, to be honest. And so if we didn't need 2 people on every shift, we only needed 1 person since there are only 3 people. It kind of naturally got to that point of where, hey, we only have, 2 6-to-2s for 1 shift per day. It just worked out. Now, granted, we're still interviewing and we will hire individuals that we think are a really, really great fit. But again, we're trying to kind of bootstrap it a little bit to where it's the minimum amount of individuals that we have. So again, we have 2 6-to-2s, 2 2-to-10s, 2 10-to-6s per building, the new builds. And they just kind of fluctuate between each other so that it's 1. There might be a day where we have a floater that goes in between, and that's okay. It's expensive to have 3 people for those 2 buildings per shift, so we stick to 1. That's pretty much what we're doing right now, and it's worked out really great because we have a manager there every day. It's not just during Monday through Friday. I'd be happy to do a deep dive on that to kind of, again, it's never perfect. So I can tell you what we do and you probably implement it and it may not work for you. There's not really a perfect answer to that. And again, I think it's like that's just kind of how business is. Like you're gonna think something's perfect, and then you can't control the timing of things, and it's like like what do I do here? And so that I would just say if it's 2 buildings that you have, I would say 1 person per shift is ideal, because 1 person can take care of 3 people very easily.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that when you went through the I say selection process as if you had a lot of options, but when you interview and do the level of care for the residents, you don't have any of those 3 that are like heavy assist, like
Correct.
assist,
Yes.
so
Yes.
you really wait to bring those into the home
Till you
it's
have
really-
2. Yes, because if you have a 2-person assist, then crud, then you need
Yeah.
2 people on that shift all the time. And so,
Okay.
to be honest with you, it may happen that someone has a stroke or someone falls and they have an incident where then they are a 2-person assist. There's a risk in that too. So again, it's like you can't really control certain things. Some things just kind of happen. And if it happens, you just kind of have to roll with it. And we'll have to have another person there. And it'll be a hit on the payroll, but that's the care that we promise to the family. And so that's what we have. That's what we provide.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't necessarily is needed. I just wanted to make sure that I had the right understanding about how you were going, because I would have assumed you would have gone about it the exact way you just explained it.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to not have that or just have this.
You didn't want to assume. I get that. I know what assuming does. Yeah. 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 No, I appreciate the clarification. Edwin, I see your hand up.
Sorry, I wanted to.
No, it's
kinda
okay.
keep going on this subject because so the place where my mom's at, because they're waiting so long for this inspection, they went ahead and started doing respite care. Is that something that's actually allowed?
That sounds very gray. I wouldn't do that because I think if a surveyor came in, I would assume that they would think that that's over 3 individuals in the house. Like, to be completely honest with you, I'm even nervous to move 3 people over to 103 for like lunch. Because then if I have a surveyor that comes in and sees 6 residents in one house, that's gonna flag me. And so we originally were doing that. And then once I kind of thought through it, I was like, well, that's not good. If I have someone come in and they see 6 people at the table, I mean, I can show them that, hey, they're actually living next door, but like they could potentially flag for that. And so I don't want there to be any gray line anywhere. So I personally wouldn't do that. Again, I think that's a business owner's decision ultimately. But yeah, anything that's going to flag the state for anything, like I will not mess with, because they intentionally, and I don't want to come off like saying that they're like a horrible people, but I think they intentionally make things gray to say, hey, I'm not going to pass you for this or this. And so I just making sure that every area is clean and that they don't have any way to come in and prove different.
So what they told me was, and I don't know if you know this, if you agree with it, but that these inspections only happen on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
I don't think that that's necessarily true.
That's not true, because that's what they told me. So what they're doing is on the weekend.
Oh, no.
They're doing arrests.
You know what happens is all it takes is one disgruntled employee who gets fired to call the state. And these employees, they know the rules. All it takes is them to call and say what's going on, and they will not pass. So I would not do that. Would not suggest that. Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up, Edwin. I think it's a great point. Awesome. Well, you guys had so many questions. I'm glad. Because I only have a few little things that I wanted to share, little tidbits. And again, it's kind of like things that I've learned, and I want to share with you what I've learned. So 2 things I wanted to go over today, and they're kind of totally unrelated, but they're things that came up, and I wanted to share them with you. So first thing is Christmas party. Now you're probably thinking this is really silly. Why are we talking about a Christmas party? Christmas party is really, really important. And we're actually having our Christmas party for our Platinum Angels tomorrow. And our Christmas parties are not small. They are they're pretty impressive, meaning like the gifts that we buy are pretty legit. I'm actually going to post the link to all of the gifts that we bought. I'm going to post it in the Mansion Builder so you can take a look at it. But the gifts we buy are around, I'd say, $200 to $300 per gift. And we buy a gift for each Platinum Angel. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's so much money. Like, wow. Yes, it is a lot of money. But we do that because, I mean, our Platinum Angels talk about this for like 6 months after the party. Our families talk about it because we post pictures about it, and then our angels post pictures about it. Even people who are in the restaurant that when we go to a certain restaurant, we have dinner and then we play this game. People in the restaurant will ask like, you know, what business is this? Like, this looks so much fun. I'll have servers that serve us like want to apply to work for us because they see the party, they see how much fun we're having. So it's more than just like giving them a great gift, which I really do. I really want to love on the caregivers because I know how hard the position is. And so it's so fun for us to do this. I mean, we get like Apple Watches, iPads, MetaQuest, like I think we got like a printer, we got skydiving, we got one of those massage guns, a drill, a foosball table, basketball hoop, like all sorts of fun things. And so we're coordinated to where we do a Rochambeau contest at the beginning for cash, and we'll do like $50, $100 cash for certain things like that. People who win like the Rochambeau contest. Super fun, super engaging, everybody loves it. And then we do I don't know if it's called like a white elephant gift type of vibe, where you have all the gifts. They're unwrapped, so it's different than having them wrapped. They're all unwrapped. People pick the gift, and then if someone wants to steal it, they can, or pick a new gift, and then once it's taken 3 times, it's solidified. So that's what we do with these gifts. I purchased probably about 5 more gifts than I need just to get like a variety of gifts, and then, you know, options for people if they want certain things over the other. And again, I got like random kind of stuff because some people would really want a printer. I know that sounds really weird, but there are lots of individuals who say, oh, I wish I had a printer, but I couldn't print that at home or something. And so I just kind of take note of different things that I hear throughout the year. Like I got a basketball hoop on purpose because I heard one caregiver talking about, oh, we don't have a basketball hoop in our neighborhood and my son's playing basketball. Like, just, you know, take note of the conversations you have with your caregivers so that you can really bless them with things at the end of the year. So we do that for our caregivers. The caregivers that are working during the shift, because, you know, the floor still has to be run, right? I give them $200 cash for working the shift, and then they also get one of the gifts. So they get a little bonus for working the shifts and missing the party. And so some people are stoked on that. They would rather work, to be honest. Some people are non-social and they would rather have the $200. So I give that option too. I've had, before we had just one home open, we had our hospice company shower aide that we knew. She came in with one of our hospice individuals, nurses, and they actually ran the floor for us. So that there's other options for that. I don't like having people I don't know come in and watch the grandparents, like staffing agency stuff. I do not like using staffing agencies personally. You don't run backgrounds on them. You don't interview them. And then you have these random people coming in your home. I'm not a fan. If you're a fan, totally cool. You can do that. It just wasn't, I don't really like doing that. And so because we have 3 homes now, it's kind of hard to do that option. So this is why I gave the $200 bonus for the people who work. Now for the managers, so for Eva and Mandy, the regional managers, I'm giving them $1,000 cash. And then I probably will give them a gift too, because again, I have extra gifts and I could just return it, but why not just bless somebody with it? And so if there's an extra gift that didn't get picked, and if they want it, I'll usually give it to them. I did that last year too. And then with the operations managers, I gave them $500 cash. And then again, probably a gift that didn't get taken. And so I'm telling you all this so that you have an idea of what to do during your Christmas parties and how you can really bless your team. I think that I don't like doing small Christmas parties, and I want them to know how much we appreciate them. Brett and I usually stand up and we usually, we do a prayer. We lead a prayer before the meal. And then we also just like tell them how grateful we are for them and, the hard work they've done this past year. And then for them to all have fun together. It's really fun to see that. We pay for dinner and then we pay for all the presents and such. So it's really important that you have an open hand when it comes to these things. There are going to be caregivers who aren't going to be with us the next month probably, but I don't care about that. That's not about it. I still want them to know that I appreciate them for the time that they were with us. So that's a Christmas party. So take those ideas, run with them if you want, change them if you want. But if there's anything you hear from me on the Christmas party, make sure you do a big Christmas party for your team. Make sure that you really bless them with certain things because they're going to remember that. And they're just going to be more like tied to your business when they see that you care about them. So make sure you do that. When you have one open and it's Christmas time, make sure you bless your team. Now, I'm going to completely change gears here and talk about something completely different because we ran into something in the last couple of months and I wanted to share with you what I've learned so that you don't make the same mistake that I did. We actually ran into a little issue with a prior team member who actually wasn't necessarily even working with us yet. But we ran into an issue and it was actually our fault. We did not follow the certain onboarding processes that are the federal guidelines for certain things. And so I wanted to share with you, we wrote out a new interviewing policy. I actually just posted it in the Mansion Builder group so that you can see it and read through it and then implement it with you and your team when you're interviewing. Now, this is an internal interviewing policy. It's not something we really share with our team members or anything like that. It's one of those things where if you do get into an instance where someone thinks that you didn't hire them for a certain reason, then you can share this interview policy at that point. So I'm going to tell you, I've described to you the story and what we learned through the process. And it actually took me 5 years to learn this. I did not even know this was an actual thing until recently. So normally when we interview somebody once, then we interview them twice, we do the reference checks, and then we send an offer letter. And then after the offer letter, we would usually run a background check. Now, with that being said, if the background check comes bad, which it does quite often, there are a lot of individuals who have various things on their background that you probably wouldn't want to hire them based on the things they've done in the past. Now, there's a certain way to go about that I didn't know about until recently. If you have someone who has a negative background, that technically can't be the reason why you didn't hire them. Now, as a business owner, you can think, yes, that is the reason why I'm not hiring you. You have theft twice on your background. I'm not going to hire you. I'm protecting my grandparents. The state of Texas says, I technically cannot hire you because you have theft and I cannot bring you into the home because I'm protecting these grandparents. Logically, that makes sense. But federally, that's not what they say. So we actually got hit from an individual who it was a chef we were hiring, and he had an extensive background. And we had already sent him the offer and then ran the background check. And so he pretty much had to have the opportunity to express why he has these things on his background check. What we did was we saw the background check and pretty much said hey, based on the policies that we have, we cannot, go forward with hiring you based on your background. You cannot do that. You have to give them the opportunity to tell their story, why they have these certain things on their background, because they could have made a change. They could have, it could have been 5 years ago and they're not that person anymore. It's pretty much the fairness of it to give everyone fairness on getting a job. So I didn't really like that. I was like, I don't want to run my business like that. So what we are doing now, our new policy, and you can see it, I posted it in the Facebook group. We are doing a first interview with operations manager. And if they pass that first interview, then they're going to have a second interview. And if they pass that second interview with another operations manager, then before anything next, we tell them that we are running a background check and we pay for it. And so if they do not pass that background check, say if it comes back bad, then we still do a third interview. Okay, this is very important. Making sure you already know you're not going to hire them based on the background, but you can still do a third interview. It could be a Zoom interview. It could be in person, whatever you want. I know it's technically kind of a quote unquote waste of your time because you know they're not going to hire them, but you do that third interview. And then based on that third interview, you do not hire them because they maybe don't meet the skill set that you're looking for, or maybe they don't fit, the culture, whatever it may be. But that's the last thing, is the interview, that final interview. And then you can note within your interview that, they didn't meet the skills that were required for the position. And that could be the final. You cannot deny somebody based on their background and that be the final thing. Okay, so it's kind of it's how I see it is it's a game, and you just need to know the rules of the game, and you need to be ahead of the game. And so this is why I'm telling you this now, so you guys are ahead of the game. So when you are doing your interviews, and do not send them an offer letter until you run that background check. It's very, very important. We did it wrong for 5 years. I didn't even know until recently. And to be honest, I think that people see the opportunity because they see how nice the buildings are. They walk in and wow, oh, this place must have a lot of money. They see the opportunity to come after you. And I know it sounds horrible and it's very frustrating as a business owner, especially a small business owner, right? We're all small business owners. They just see the dollar sign and they take any opportunity they can to find the cracks within your systems to then take advantage. And it's a lot of lawyers, to be honest. Lawyers know this. They know every single detail on these things, and then they really push people to, file complaints on this stuff. So I am glad that we learned this lesson so that we can all tell you not to make the same mistake. So be sure that if you like somebody, go through that second interview. If you still like them, you still think they're a great fit, then make sure you tell them, hey, our next step is to run a background check. And then if the background check comes clear, then I would still do that final interview with the regional manager or somebody higher up, and then hire them from there. Send the offer letter after that. But making sure you get that background check in first. Again, if it comes in bad, then still do that final interview. Again, I know it's frustrating, and I've told my team this, I know it can seem like a waste of time, but it's really not. It's really covering our butts from any, potential issues that could be down the line. So with that being said, I just wanted to clarify that, making sure that you guys don't run that same issue when you are hiring individuals. And again, this is the same for every position. So if it's for a manager, make sure you do the same thing. And also for maintenance, and then for a chef, make sure you kind of follow those same interview processes here, so that you don't get hit with anything that could potentially, come after you for not following those rules and guidelines based on the federal guidelines for that. Perfect. So I know there's probably a ton of questions after that. So if you have any questions regarding that, again, I don't know the federal ins and outs and all this stuff. I'm not I'm not a lawyer, and I'm just a business owner that's trying to help you protect yourself when you get to that position, when you're hiring individuals. And again, I'm here to tell you where we failed and to share with you so that you don't get into that same issue. Again, I almost feel like Brett and I are stumbling along the path, and you guys are behind us, and I'm like, oh wait, stop, everyone, don't do this. And you're like, okay, let's go, forward on. So I'm really glad that we're able to help with this, because I don't want you guys to get in a instance where something like this can hit you in the future. So I see a couple hands raised. If you have a question, make sure you raise your hand and I'll go in order. Derek, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I'm just curious, if you have one interview, then you have the second interview, and you decide at that point, before a background check, that you don't want to hire them, what are you doing? Are you having a third interview?
No, then you don't even push them forward at that point, because the main thing that was the big ticker here was the background check. When you have that background check, you cannot base hiring someone based on the background check, which you as a business owner, it makes sense why you wouldn't hire somebody based on their background. But the federal outlook on that is different. And so if you just have those first 2 interviews and don't think they're a good fit, no, you don't have to hire them. You didn't run a background, you didn't do anything. There's nothing that they can come back with you on other than like in your notes, you say they're just not a good fit or they don't have the skills needed for the position. That's really what I say. I tell the managers to write that in, that the skills this individual has and fit the position requirements. That's all you really have to say. So no, you would not have to run a 3rd interview. That's just pretty much how we do it now. I would suggest a minimum of 2 interviews, for any caregiver that you have coming on. 3, I think, is ideal because I think having 3 different eyes on this person and getting 3 different vibes on this person is really important, so that it's not just 1 or 2 people, that you're having multiple people, making sure that they're all in alignment with how they feel about this person.
So I guess my point is, you have 1 interview, you like them. 2nd interview, you like them. You do a background check, red flags pop up. How would they even know that that is the reason that you don't?
It doesn't matter. If that's the last action you took based on the federal guidelines of things, they're going to say that you didn't hire them based on their background. That's kind of how it is. So if it comes back bad, make sure you do that 3rd interview, and it be the interview or the skill set isn't there. That's what you say. It's the legal, again, it's the game. It's the legal game that you kind of have to play with certain things like this, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just one last question.
Yeah.
When you're doing an interview, so it's Eva, and say Eva, then it's Mandy, and then, or is it them together? How does that work?
So it used to be that when it was just the 2 of them. Now I have, so I have 4 operation managers now. So I have an operation manager do the first one, and then a second operation manager do the second one. And if they pass that, then again, we'll run the background check. And if the background check goes bad, I'll have a 3rd operation manager come in and do kind of that fake interview. But if the background check is great, then I have Eva and Mandy do the final interview. Eva and Mandy are always doing the final interview of every individual that we hire on.
Okay. And the actual Platinum Angels, do they sort of interview them since they're the ones that will be actually working with them?
So I think, yeah, I actually think that's a really great idea. We had talked about doing that, but it's really difficult scheduling-wise doing that. Just because it's normally during business hours. So our interviews are usually from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And those timeframes are pretty busy. I mean, I'd say 1:30 to 3 is pretty low key and mellow. But I mean, our angels are still doing so much that it's hard for them to pull off and sit even for 20 minutes. I know it sounds crazy. It's a lot for them to do that. I do want to implement that. I think that's really, really important for maybe like a senior platinum angel to interview them. We just haven't implemented it yet, but I do think it's a great idea. Thanks, Derek. Braden, go ahead.
All right, so this is great. I always get excited on these calls.
Good.
I think you actually just mentioned 20 minutes. Is that about the average length of one of the respective interviews? I was kind of curious, especially if we're doing 3 of them.
Yeah, I would say they're about 20 minutes. They don't have to be. Eva's really funny. Eva has gotten to a point where like you can tell within the first minute if you're gonna hire this person or not. Like right. Honestly, you can tell how they walk in, their demeanor, their energy, how they interact with you on the first question. You'll know. So Eva's she knows very quickly. If she happens to do a first or second interview, if she just happens to have time and she's there for the first or second interview and she knows this isn't a good fit, she usually cuts it pretty short. So, because, yeah, and she asked maybe 3 or 4 questions and then, hey, we'll get back with you type of vibe. And again, like that may sound mean, but like the time that all the things that happen during the day, again, every day is different, right? There's so much going on. There's so many working parts. And again, no day is perfect. There's always things that happen that you're like not prepared for. And so I think Eva knows the value of her time, and she knows that her time is not really valuable in a interview where she knows she's not going to hire somebody. And to be honest, it's respecting their time too. You know what I mean? If they have other interviews and stuff to do, it's respecting them too. So, yeah.
I'd say for sure. And it is a little bit of a when you know, obviously like if you're dating someone or so, you can kind of know kind of quickly
Yeah,
if there's a spark there or something or not.
exactly.
I may have even asked this previously, but in relation to holidays, what do you guys do for holiday pay? So if they are working, they take a Christmas shift or a Thanksgiving shift or whatever. How do you guys give an extra $100 or how do you incentivize taking one of those shifts?
So we do time and a half, and that's an incentive as itself. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. So that's a big jump per hour, and they're very excited to do that. So in the beginning, it was an issue, I think, because again, it was COVID and everything was hard in the beginning. But now, I mean, we had no issues with Thanksgiving, and we're gonna have no issues with Christmas because people are like, hey, I'll just do my Christmas with my kids like when I get home, or I'll do it the day before, or the day after. So it's not really that big of a deal for a lot of people. So yeah, time and a half is what we do.
Oh, great. This would be my last question.
Yeah.
How far ahead of time do you guys try to nail down those dates? Is it 2 months out, 1 month out? Hey, when do you throw out who wants to work on Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that?
It's a great question. So we have plans for this for the new year. So I'll tell you what we do now, and I'll tell you what we'll do in the future. So now Eva gets the schedule out like 6 weeks in advance. So it's pretty far in advance. And so that's, I think, a great way for people to, if they want to switch with somebody else, they'll have plenty of time to do that. Like, hey, I have my Christmas party with my family on this day. Can you switch with me? And so they do that on their own all the time. But for future, I'm actually really excited to implement this. We haven't done it yet, and we haven't talked about it yet because we haven't perfected it. We're actually going to be doing a yearly schedule coming out probably mid-year next year. To where we have kind of our core shift of individuals. They get kind of their, I don't want to say their favored set, but we have core people, right? Core people, and they're going to have their 5 shifts each week. We have sub people under that get 4 shifts, and then all the new people will be all the fillers. And so we'll go more in depth how this works. But pretty much we used AI to incorporate this and to create this yearly schedule. I like it because it gives our core shifts pretty much like what they want, their seniority, right? And I think they should have a seniority. Right. And then it gives the ability for our new people to pick up other people's shifts and show that they really want to work for us. But then it also gives everyone the freedom and capability to switch shifts because they know so far in advance, what their schedule is. And so it's a repeatable schedule. It's like I think a 6-week rotation or something like that, so that everyone has weekends off, and it's it's not just like our core shift gets Monday through Friday. That's not how it works. We're still going to be kind of moving them over every week. They kind of get moved over 5 days. So week 1 they'd have Monday through Friday. Week 2 they'd have Tuesday through Saturday. Week 3 they'd have Wednesday through Sunday. And so it just kind of moves over, and it's a really great schedule. I'm really excited to implement it. It's almost like a firefighter schedule in a way. And I'm just excited about it because it gives people the freedom and capability to switch if they needed to. The requests off are so overwhelming that it takes too much time for Eva, because Eva's the one who does the schedule. And, hearing about all of the stuff she's doing and how much time it takes, I'm like, we need to figure this out. And so this was something that we came up with. If they needed a time off, all they have to do is switch with somebody, and it's not an issue. They do that on their own on Rippling, and it's very easy. And so, yeah, we're going to implement this, and it's going to be something that trial and error. I'm sure there's going to be certain things that aren't going to be perfect, and will change. That's what we do. But I'm excited to start that in the next few months.
Cool. No, that was all on that central, you said Rippling, the portal that
Correct.
You can go and check and see when the shifts are. And there's even, did anyone want to take this? They can put it up on a bulletin
Correct.
board or something, and people can grab it.
Yeah, it's all on Rippling. They'll just kind of release the shift, and then anyone can go in and just pick it up and claim it. And you can put parameters on the shift. So if it's a med tech shift, another person who is not a med tech cannot pick up that shift. So the back end of Rippling is really cool to be able to manipulate those things so that if it's a med tech shift, only another med tech can pick it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Nope. Always grateful. Thanks.
Sweet. No problem. Thanks, Braden. Iris, you're up next.
Yeah. So 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, do you guys do any phone screening before the first interview, just kind of root out people versus, that's one. And two, either during that phone screening or the first interview, could you just ask some questions on the background to say, hey, do you have any,
Yes.
background,
Yes.
things that I should know about if we put a background, or
Yeah.
just very straightforward, say, hey, any criminal background?
Yes. We ask that question to every single individual. And it's just crazy to me that they just stare you in the face and lie to you and say no.
Really?
And then you get this
Wow.
background back and you're like, seriously, do you
Just
think this
don't
was,
know that you-
I know. They'll be like, oh, I didn't know that showed up on my background. It's like, come on. Like, you're wasting everybody's time. It's $35 for me to run a background on people. So this is what I tell the operations managers. Hey, like, be sure that you like this person because it's costing me money to run a background. Now, again, I don't care about the money. Like, I will run the background if you like this person. And granted, sometimes it just happens that they have a background. They have certain things in the background. It is what it is. But yeah, it's just frustrating because it's wasting everybody's time if they don't say anything.
Is there a way, because I do tenant screening all the time,
Yeah.
and then they do pay their background, but I know that hiring is a little bit different.
It
Is
is.
there a way you say, hey, you're gonna pay your background check, but if it matches to what you tell me, we'll refund back to you? So that kind of
Yeah, I feel like the gray line is there. So with this individual that we had this issue with, they said they had to pay for their background check, and that was an issue. He did not. I had proof that we paid for it. So I know there's an issue with federal with them paying for their own background check. So again, just to make sure that you are not going to run into an issue in the future, I would just pay for it. And to be honest, that's just part of it's built into your expenses. We have onboarding expenses, and it's just kind of one of those things that you have to do as a business owner. It's very frustrating, I know. but as far as your answer to your question about the phone interview, we used to do Zoom interviews as the first interview, but it was frustrating because I had Eva or Mandy kind of block out their whole day to do these Zoom interviews, and we'd schedule them out, and they would confirm they were coming. And then you hop on the Zoom and then no one shows up. It's like 50% of the people show up to these Zoom interviews. So it seemed like it was kind of a waste of time. So what we did was we blocked off a certain time of day at one of the locations. So from like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we have interviews Monday through Friday. And it's one of those things where like anybody can come in at any time during that so that they're able to still get stuff done. They're able to work. And if someone comes in, then they can, stop what they're doing and do the interview. It works better, I think. It coordinates better with the schedule of things. And so that's why we changed it to that. You can, by all means, do a phone interview if you wanted to.
But isn't that actually a good thing to root out these people who
It
doesn't
is.
show up on the Zoom meeting?
It is. Yeah, it is. It's true. You root them out very quickly. If they don't show up, then it's like, okay, then I'm going to mark you as a do not hire. Yeah, you could do that. It's just, it was frustrating for them to work their schedule around. So they'd have a Zoom meeting at 9:30 and then another one at 10:15. And so the 9:30 didn't show up. So like, okay, I need to get something done before the 10:15. 10:15 come up. Oh, that person didn't show up either. So they're sitting there waiting for 5 minutes. And it's like, okay, I'm only giving them 5 minutes. All right, cancel it, go to the next one. Okay, my next one is at 11:30. So it was kind of just, it was too scattered and it just didn't really make sense for us personally. I did like the fact that you could root out people pretty quickly, but I do kind of like the open aspect of it to where, once they do apply, you look at their resume, it looks like they were a good fit. Then you schedule, everything is scheduled on Rippling. All the interviews and everything are scheduled on there. So you can do Zoom interviews on Rippling or you can do in-person interviews. Rippling also does that as well, where they schedule all that out. So it's very streamlined and easy. And it just works out with the manager's schedule because manager's schedule is pretty busy most days. And we're constantly hiring. That's one thing that I know we're always going to do is constantly hiring, again, because the standard is so high and we expect the level of care to be at a certain point. We're just constantly, there's going to be those 1 or 2 shifts that are kind of just constantly in and out. That's just the reality of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. I have probably time for one more question. Does anybody have any other questions regarding anything? It doesn't necessarily have to be what we're talking about. It could be regarding operations or anything. I'm an open book. You ask a question. Oh, Shondell and Shawnette, let's go.
Hey, Laura.
Hey.
We have a quick question.
Yeah.
We actually posted this in the Facebook group a few weeks ago, but just wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
One of our potential investors that we are conversating with asked us if we were to hire staff tomorrow, what would be our plan? How would you answer that question?
If you were to hire staff tomorrow, what would be your plan? And are they just wanting to know what your plan is for hiring?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a deep question, and I can answer it. It's just dependent on, there's so many variances on that, because if you're hiring for only 3 residents initially, or you hiring, say I had a full house and I was planning on, hiring all of that, it's kind of a staggered process. It's not like you're hiring like full staff initially. It's usually a staggered process because you stagger in grandparents usually. And so for me, I would say it would initially be, I would hire 2 6 to 2, 2 2 to 10s, and 2 10 to 6s. And that's enough for individuals to kind of swap and only have one person on each shift. And then I would want to have 2 managers per house. You can start off with 1 initially, so that you don't have initial hit of a lot of expenses for 2 salaries. So if you have 1 home, you could just hire 1 manager. So it'd be just 1 manager, and then 6 caregivers for 1 on each shift. And then you would, again, as far as a chef, we kind of staggered that. So Brett was actually the chef on our first house until we had 8 grandparents. And when we had 8 grandparents, that was kind of the point of like, okay, I think we're good. We can hire a chef now. We're stable enough that we can hire a chef. And so again, you can do that too. You can have maybe the manager and the caregivers cook for those individuals until it hits a certain point, and then you could hire your chef. Or if you don't want to deal with that, you could hire your chef first go round. Again, that's a little bit higher on the expenses. You're paying an extra person for that. And then as far as the maintenance individual, you probably don't need a maintenance individual initially. You can have maybe just we had like a handyman for our first house for a while. So he was not on our payroll. He would just come and work on certain things initially. It was per job type of thing. So that'll save you money on that. Just get kind of a handyman that can fix things. So then you're kind of bare minimum if you just have 1 manager and then 6 staff for that 1 house. Again, if that's only for 3 to 6 maybe individuals. If you have more grandparents in the house, then you again have to hire more caregivers. So then that would be probably double that. So 12. You have 3 caregivers per shift to fluctuate between those 3 for the 14 shifts that you have for that particular shift. I know that sounds very confusing. I've done a call on this before where I break it all down so that it doesn't sound so confusing. And so, then you kind of have, I'd say, so 9, not 12, 9 individuals total caregivers. And then again, that 1 manager, you can then hire that 1 chef. And then if you wanted to then at that point, raise one of the caregivers up to maybe an assistant manager, so you have 1.5 managers. I would suggest that so that you are not the backup for the manager. And so it's dependent on the timing of things. I don't know if they're expecting you to have like here's a full 16 grandparents. What's your plan for that? I would say it'd be 9 caregivers. It'd be 2 managers. It'd be 1 chef. And then I probably would just have a maintenance guy, not on shift, like not on your payroll, but just kind of have him to be on call if you have any issues.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good.
Which tool would you use? Like, would you hop on Indeed? Would you?
Yeah. So with Rippling, that we use for our HR system, it's awesome because you can just input it in Rippling, and then it puts it on you tag it or on the back end, tie it to your website. So people can go on your website and apply, and then it shoots over to your Rippling. And then Rippling also posts it on like Indeed and all these other ZipRecruiter and all these other online websites. It blasts it out to that too. Again, and when people apply on that, it comes into your Rippling. So it's all in one consolidated place.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think that really answers the question.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Sorry, I know that was kind of winded answer. It was kind of long. I'm like, oh gosh. Okay, awesome, good. Well, great guys. That was an awesome call. I hope that was helpful. Again, the whole point of these calls is to be helpful for when you guys do have one open, which you will soon, that you won't hit the same roadblocks we hit, and that if you guys have any questions regarding operations, that we're here to help you with that. Again, so Mandy's going to be on the call next week. If you guys have an idea of what you want to have her talk about, if you could just post it in the Facebook group and tag me. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to post it right now when we jump off. Hey guys, what are some ideas for an operations call with Mandy next week? If you just comment on that and let me know. And then hopefully we'll get at least one response so that she can talk about that specifically. And then if there's like 15 responses, that's great too. I can just note that and I can just do some calls either with Eva or myself in the future. Again, so next week with Mandy will be the last call for this year, which is crazy. So yeah, have a great rest of your week and we will see you next week with Mandy.